Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. So what have we got today? Well, today, as you can see, our brand new John Deere seed drill has arrived. Now, back in real life, back in the 1952-53 season, the dairy had this, well, a similar, it's not quite the same one that they had, but this was as close as I could find. The dairy had this seed drill on the back of a John Deere crawler. They were back then all John Deere and John Deere lands, and today they still operate all John Deere, as far as I know, as far as what I can see and what I found out. They still operate all of the John Deere, but yeah, they've stuck with John Deere from, as I say, through the 1950s. And bear in mind, actually, in the part of Ohio where we are, there's no John Deere dealer, and for many years there wasn't a John Deere dealer anywhere near where the dairy and Harry's farm was. So it meant that they had to have their John Deere machinery, sort of shipped to them, or sort of brought on low loaders and lorries and stuff, you know, to get them to the farm, or they had to sometimes drive them from, I don't know how far it was. I didn't look a great deal into that because somehow, it doesn't sort of kind of feel relevant to the story that I'm trying to tell. But yeah, so they had a long old way, to ship it, but it wouldn't be that many more years until the part of Ohio where they are did get a John Deere dealership, and there is still the John Deere dealership there today. And if I remember, I will go and look at what the name of that John Deere dealership is, and I will tell it in one of the episodes again. The other thing as well is we've taken all of the corn equipment off the front of one of the John Deeres, and we have now got 3 John Deere A's cultivating ahead of us, because this drill is 5.5 meters, I think, wide. They're 3 meters each, so essentially we're doing 9 meters ahead of a 5.5 meter drill. So it should keep them in front, because as you can see, I am catching them up. They did start quite a way in front of me, but I find that it's easier to try and keep this crawler straight the quicker I go. But I am having to keep slowing down and letting them get away again. There's quite a big gap between the first one and the second one, as you can see, because the first one's just about making its turn. But the gap is not quite so big between 2 and 3. But at the moment, fingers crossed, touch wood, all of that business, they're not colliding, so I'm happy. It's always a bit of a gamble. Well, it's not really a gamble, but it's always a bit tricky to get courseplay working multiple tools doing the same jobs in the same fields and getting them so they don't collide into each other. And I've also set them on lands as well. That way, the belief being that they shouldn't collide with each other again, because they'll be doing sort of almost like a racetrack kind of situation going on. So I hope I've got that right. I might not have done, but we'll see. Wow, this is a bit of a steep hill. Oh dear, we've got track slip. This is not good. This is not good. This drill is quite heavy, to be fair. I'm very pleased that John Deere haven't asked me to do an advert for how much traction their crawler has, because on the flat, this crawler pulls this drill no problem at all, as you can see. As soon as the ground goes sort of a bit raised, this crawler has big trouble pulling this John Deere drill. And the point of John Deere releasing such drills for their crawler tractors was to kind of highlight and and demonstrate how much traction, more traction the tracks had over the wheels. But yeah, so I'm not really doing John Deere justice. But the only argument I could possibly say is this isn't a John Deere crawler, so you're absolutely fine. Oh dear me. I did kind of, it did make me smile because on the other side when I first started, and we sort of hit a slight hill and it was like started to spin. I was like, oh dear, I'm pleased I'm not doing the advert. I think I may be letting John Deere down here. But as long as we get this field drilled, obviously I don't mind too much. As I say, I just want to get my crop in and then get it right. I don't know why it's doing that texture, to be fair, because it's been ploughed and it's been cultivated. Yeah, it's still doing the kind of direct seeding texture, so I'm not really sure why it shouldn't really be doing that. But yeah, got the field finished ploughed late last night. I'll tell you, I had a really good time ploughing that field because I pretty much managed to keep it perfectly straight from start to finish. And thanks to one of my very reliable listeners, PA Ploughboy, go check out his channel and give him a subscribe. Well worth it. I love his little shorts, very informative, and for a Brit, it gives a very simple sort of introduction and explanation into American farming and you know, sort of all the different things that go on. And one of the videos that he pointed me in the right direction, which wasn't a plug at all, I've been assured, was he demonstrates the corn crib. And for me, because I got it so horrendously wrong on this video, that was quite important, and it was very interesting to see how that's all done and you know, sort of why and everything like that. So yeah, as I say, go check out his channel because it's a very good a very good as I say, for a Brit, informative and interesting channel to watch. But he kind of pointed out to me that actually the way he ploughs a field with a bottom plough is to start on one side and then drive the other side and then just keep working back until you eventually fill in the middle. So that's what I'm going to do from now on, because that makes a lot of sense to me. And as I said before, my granddad used to measure the field out and then sort of do it from all the measurements that he took. Obviously on farming sim, you know, I can't do that. There's no way of me measuring the field like he used to do. And to be fair, you know, with the skill of my maths, I probably wouldn't be able to work it out still anyway, so it makes no difference. Whereas doing what PA Ploughboy said, which is start one end and then just keep, you know, go down that breed and then drive to the other end of the field and then drive back and then just keep doing that, so that the last furrow ends up dead in the set, or, you know, ends up sort of in theory in the center of the field, but you know, makes a lot of sense. And then the next year you plow it from the center out, and that makes a lot of sense too. So you know, as I say, I was really grateful for that, and it's a good tip, and it's, you know, definitely something I shall be using myself. So anyway, this is the last breed around the headlands now for both myself and for the John Deeres. So we'll just get this breed around the headland done, and then we'll be on the up and down. And with this drill now, because it's considerably wider than the other one, drilling won't take quite so long. I can't wait till the 80s. Equipment's getting much more powerful and a lot wider. And on these fields, boy do I need it. No, but as I say, I had great. The thing is, it's because when I first started it and I saw the size of the equipment and then I saw the size of the fields, I was thinking, really, do I really want to be starting that? Because that is looking like many hours, doing a single job, and I'm thinking, ooh, and I thought, yeah, what the hell, at the end of the day, I think it's an interesting, sort of save to do and what have you. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I've had the bestest fun ever doing this with the slightly smaller. I mean, I know we've now raised the drill to 5.5 meters or whatever, or 5.2, I think it is, to be pedantic about it. I've had the bestest of time. Honestly, like, it's been so fun, and my friend Ray, who I work with, who's in sort of, he features in the Farm Manager series. Um, he's been watching it, and he said, like, it's brought back a lot of memories for him, working as a young boy on his dad's farm, or his dad's small holding. And he said he's really enjoyed it, and I know I've had a lot of messages from quite a few viewers of this series that have said actually really enjoy this series, and sort of the history and what have you, and yeah, it really is. Honestly, it's such a. I think because it's so different to what I normally do, and because it like, it's just so far removed from anything that I would normally. I mean, all of my series are really. I mean, Carmlan's definitely. Normally I would never have done anything if I was just playing for myself. I wouldn't have done anything like that. I'd have been literally playing either this map or probably Homeworld, um, and that would have been me playing that every day religiously. 40 hours that I do until 25 came out. So to a lot of these, as I say, Carmlan's, Britain's. I wouldn't have done a Britain, but I may have done like a sort of. I usually do one main map, and then I have sort of a map that I go to when I just need a bit of a rest or a change or whatever. So I probably would have done that like that, but not necessarily based on Britain's toys. It probably would have just been a normal little farm with some sort of older equipment, because the fields are much smaller there. I was half tempted on this map to do another save, um, and do like a sort of modern day version of the two farms, so that runs parallel with this series, so you kind of get what they did in the olden days, and then what they do today, and how they farm today, and the equipment that they have. But I'm not sure that that's kind of what people maybe would want, mainly because people are enjoying the older equipment, they are enjoying the history, they are enjoying, sort of seeing me having to sort of almost graft, for everything that we do and achieve on this farm. So I've sort of restrained from doing that, but I would kind of like to do that. I think that would be an interesting sort of, as I say, series to run parallel to this. Is like, in this series we get all the history, we get, sort of what happened, and what happened to who, and what, where, and when, and all of that business. But in the other series we get kind of what they're doing today. I think that would be really interesting. But it will be interesting to see if you guys let me know in the comments, and let me know, is that something you would be interested in? Do you want me just to keep it like this? Because if you want me to keep it just as it is, this series is going to run on well into 2025. I'm going to get to the modern day. Yes, it's taken a long time, but and we are going to have to, in a sense, try and streamline this series a little bit, just so as we do pass the years a little bit quicker. We're not going to cut out no farming, but what I might do is cut out the winters, because the winters I don't generally do too much other than look after the animals, and that's all. You know, I don't do no sort of contracting. I don't do no tree felling or anything like that. I just literally look after the dairy and the animals and make sure they're water and fed. So what I think I may have done that last year, but I may just keep skipping the winters, so that we sort of keep farming and you know, and keep going. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, as I say, what you guys think in the comments, and you know, what your thoughts are, and what you would like to see, you know, and what you would like to see more of or less of, or you know, whatever. But yeah, as I say, we'll get round the headlands, and then what I'll do is I'll switch it over to some time lapse. I was going to do a chatty video in this one, but if I do that, we're not going to get very much done. So I think if I do a time lapse, then you know, we'll get more done, sort of thing, and we'll be moved on a little bit more, because we've got tons of work to do. So we've got this to drill, we've still got my soybeans Harry's soybeans to harvest, we've got all the muck spreading to do in the 2 fields in front of us. We've got let me think, obviously they're my fields to plough, and then next spring obviously drill the big field of soybeans, and again the little field of corn. So the little field of corn was something that the dairy had, because they didn't want a huge amount of corn ears. Now what they used to do, again, as I understand what I read, and as I've always said, I'm not the brightest light bulb in the box, you know. But as what I understand it, they used to feed it to their cattle. Now I don't know whether that's right or not, or whether I've misunderstood that, or whether they mixed it and grinded it and then turned it into cattle feed. I don't know. But as I've understood it, it's the text that I've read says that they used to feed their corn to the cattle over winter, and it was part of a sort of overwinter balanced diet, if you like. But please correct me again if I'm probably misunderstanding that and misreading that. As I say, I don't know, but and hopefully as well, our beef stock is still growing. I need to get back over to our farm at some point to make sure they've still got food. Haven't been over there for a long time. I've been busy down here. The wife will be wondering where the hell I am. But yeah, so as I say, it's going to be a busy old period for us, and will be a oh, I've missed a bit, so I'll get that back when we come back down again. It's odd how the plough was able to, even with the texture tear that I get, was able to plough completely straight, yet sort of cultivators and seeders can't do it, but the plough can, because I nearly did it in the field to the left now as it is, but ploughed that one completely straight all the way across. But in the end I did mess up at one end, but yeah, so it's sort of kind of interesting how the plough sort of did it in this field. You know, completely, absolutely bang on straight the whole way across. I mean, the only bit I didn't record of me ploughing was literally, I think last night it took me 3 hours, 4 hours, and I'd virtually reached, so where we're heading now, I'd virtually reached to the outside of the field there, and so where the John Deere tractors are now, I just had all that bit to plough, and I did what PA Ploughboy suggested, and I started on the roadside and then just kept going round and round and round. So there's 903 furrows in this field because of how I split it. They're going to wish they had tracks in a little while. But yeah, so but as I say, in future we'll sort of kind of know what to do, and so it'll be a lot better. But yeah, that's kind of how I did it. It looks as if they've managed to cultivate off my drilling again, so I'm going to have to re-sow this bit down here for the third time. Which is why I then went and did the second breed over. Oh no, it's just the shadow of the shed. Oh, I was being a bit harsh on the boys. I was being a bit harsh. But yeah, we'll get, as I say, we'll get round to the bit where we started, and then we'll begin. I mean, they should be doing lands. And I have kind of now realised that may not have been the best thing for me to have let them do, because they're going to see, lands for me is you do one side, then you go the other side, do the other side, and just keep switching from side to side. Whereas courseplay lands is they divide it and then do all of the lands that they've divided, and then go do another division, and then do all of the sort of and so they might end up actually crashing into each other. It's going to be interesting to see how courseplays kind of work that out. I might have been better off getting them to just go up and down. But as you can see, they've done a lands there. Now, I could lands it, but I'm hoping that they can get round quick enough to keep me ahead, or to keep ahead of me. But I'm probably going to be able to do one more breed down there, and then I'm going to have to wait at the other end of the field. Yeah, again, didn't really think this through. Well, I sort of did think it through, but I set off drilling too early, and I ended up catching them up. The sort of kind of the plan was, of what I thought was going to happen was that they were going to have done the headlands by the time I'd done my headlands, and so therefore they would have completed the first lands, and so therefore I'd have a lot of soil to go at, you know. But it has clearly not worked out like that, and I can't even see them now. They've disappeared. Answers on a postcard as to where they are. How do you lose 3 John Deere A's? No idea. I'm having to overlap a little bit just because I don't want to run into the ploughing, because otherwise they're going to cultivate it over. No, I genuinely have lost 3 tractors. Please don't tell me they've gone into... Oh no, I think I can see one. I just had a horrible fear then that they've driven into the dike trying to turn around, but I can see one. Gordon's alive! Sorry, just popped into my head, couldn't resist. Oh dear, I'm in one of those moods today. I'm in one of those moods today. Yeah, I can see the other one now, so hopefully... So yeah, they'll get this... they'll get this lands done, and then I can start re-drilling. And what I'll do is I'll start the time lapse when I start re-drilling, because, as I say, they're going to be a little while. I could do the lands with them, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt, not really, because I'm not tramlining or anything. So I suppose I could do the lands with them, really. Yeah, I'll probably do that, just so as we keep moving. So I'll see you in a little bit. Bye for now. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. And I'm back. Wow. I did not expect to be nearly finished drilling this field. I have to be honest with you. In the time that it's taken to do the time lapse and everything else, don't get me wrong, still quite a bit of time has passed. But I didn't, as I say, I still didn't expect to have nearly finished this field. We really haven't got that much more to do now, and yeah, it's gone very well. For those of you that are wondering, this isn't an unrealistic seeder or anything like that. All that's happened is that every time I've needed to fill the seeder up, I've basically just cut that out of the video just so that the video was, you know, driving up and down with the tractors and, you know, different things. Just because, as I said in the first part of the video, I want to try and move this series along a little. It's not that, again, I want to move it along a little quicker, but it's not that I'm going to skip anything major out. You know, you're going to see all of the work that we do on the land with the animals and what have you. The only difference to that will be when the winter time comes, I probably will skip the winter months, you know, just so that we are back farming again, because otherwise it sort of will. What I'm afraid of is it will get too bogged down in detail, and this comes from sort of my writing background. You know, you don't want a story bogging down in detail. You want a story to keep moving. You know, that keeps the reader, or in this case, you know, the viewer, interested, and not only interested but wanting to know and follow what happens next, you know. So that's the reason why sort of little odd bits and pieces like refilling the drill, which, you know, you've all seen a million times. You do it yourselves when you're playing the game. You don't really need to watch me doing it. You know, so as I say, that's the reason why there hasn't been none of that. Before, I kind of kept it in because it was kind of like, yeah, we're going to show everything. Well, you know, yeah, we are going to show pretty much everything, but there are some things that we just don't need to show. And as I say, I kind of feel like filling the seeder is one of those things that we don't really need to show anymore. You know how I do it, and you know, that's how I'm sort of still doing it, if you like, and will be doing for the, you know, sort of very long foreseeable future. Yeah, but as I say, it's gone very well. I'm very, very pleased. You know, I can't believe how much quicker using this seeder is. I know it's probably double the size, if not a bit more than that, but well, in actual fact, it's almost 3 times the size. You know, so we've, I suppose, got 3 times as much done, I guess, if that's how that works out. But like I say, you know, it's still amazing. It looks as if they're finished because they're all parking up in a line. So it looks as if they've finished. So I'll get them moved out of the way and then just carry on. I'd sort of kind of, in the end, got so far behind that I was able to I was able to just start going up and down, which is a little bit easier than trying to sort of guess where the land should be. That looks pretty neat that they've actually parked perfectly next to each other. That looks pretty cool. But yeah, so as I say, I'll get this a little bit finished, and then we'll need to roll this again. Probably do the rolling off camera, just because the rolls that I've got are 2 meters, and as Elton John once said, I think it's going to be a long, long, long time. So that does look pretty neat, to be fair. But yeah, so as I say, as always, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed, you know, seeing the 3 tractors working and me drilling, and enjoyed the music. and all of that good stuff. I realise as well that the music is 99% of the time the same music. Again, that at the moment that's just done purely for memory basis. So there are bits of music that I've found that don't actually take up that much memory on my computer, and obviously I need all the memory I can get for my videos. Yeah, it's a case of you know I just have to, at the moment I'm having to do everything sort of as economically as I can, and where I can I have to sort of try and save memory. And as I say, they're sort of but I think it's about 4 or 5 songs, but in total they use about 6 megabyte, I think, of of actual memory on my computer. I think it's megabyte. I don't think it's gig. I can't remember, but I know it's very small, and that's why I've kind of stuck with it. But as I say, once I get my new computer, which will be sort of whenever, because as I've said before, it's not that easy to save for a new computer when you're not at work and that. And obviously I don't get paid anything for YouTube. So it will, I'm hoping it will be this year, but I think the chances are it'll be next year. But I don't know. I've seen one that I think is going to be acceptable. I think I've seen one that's going to be good. It's $2,500. It's 2,700 and something at the moment, but I haven't phoned them and haggled yet, so it's still 2,700 and something. But I think by the time we finished, that'll be about $2,500. I should be able to get a couple of hundred knocked off that. So yeah, about $2,500 I would say. But as I say, it's 64 gig memory, 2 terabyte hard drive. SSD drive. 12 gig graphics card, an i7 processor, which is 3.5 gigahertz normal, and then boosted to 5.5, I think it said. So that should be, it's double the spec of this one, and this one plays the game perfectly. So I'm not expecting no issues, and I'm hoping that 64 gig of RAM should be more than enough for me to have a few videos on, and then as I say, sort of a few extra mods, because I've had to get rid of a lot of mods again to free up memory and space. So I'm hoping that that will also allow me to have a few extra mods, because there's a map that I would quite like to do a little sort of let's play on, just sort of every now and again we'll sort of dip in and out of that map. But the map itself is 958 megabytes, and it needs 20 other mods in order for it to work, and I can't afford to lose that amount of memory. So it's a case of we can't do that, unfortunately. There's a few maps out there that I possibly would have done let's plays on, but their file size is too big. I mean, this file size for this map is over a gig, but obviously we're doing this, and so therefore that it has to stay, and I'm not disappointed by that. So it's just a few other things that have had to go. But anyway, as I say, I really hope you've enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It really does help. Share the video wherever you want to share it. Share the channel wherever you want to share it. Share everything wherever you want to share it. And all that's left for me to say is thanks ever so much for joining me on this episode. I've really enjoyed having your company, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.